This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Today's video is a little bit different really. It's a video that I've had several, it has to be said, requests to do something like this anyway. For some inexplicable reason, you chaps seem to be interested in me and my story. I can understand you being interested in this solo or that song or some scale or lick or something, but a surprising number of you are getting in touch saying, tell us your story. Most recently, it's a very good friend of this channel called Bob who emailed me about it last week, so I thought I'd bite the bullet and get it out the way, essentially. Then, hopefully we can move on. Music was always a big thing for me as I was growing up. There was always music on in the house. My parents were, fond of all of the old 50s rock and roll stuff, but not the usual suspects. It wasn't Buddy Holly and Elvis and Chuck Berry. It was the stuff that was more sort of homegrown. Bill Haley in the comments, I guess they were one of the US acts that my parents used to play, but it was Frankie Vaughan and Billy Fury and all that kind of stuff. And even going before that, we used to have Glenn Miller records on in the house all day. So music was just part and parcel of growing up, really. So it was always going to make an impact on me. It was that 50s rock and roll stuff that, kind of just made me prick up my little ears as a toddler and make me think, I'm interested. In the way that some kids that they're interested in sport, they love watching football or cricket or rugby or whatever, and it's just inevitable that they end up doing it. Well, I think for me it was music it was because, I enjoyed listening to it so much. It was just natural. I would want to, pick up an instrument at some point, and aged 11, I did exactly that. I remember the day clearly to right to now. It was my first day at the big school when I was 11 years old. I've been waiting for the guitar to turn up all the way throughout the summer holidays, and it was always out of stock, or it didn't arrive, or whatever. And it turned up on my first day back at school after the big summer break, and came home from school, and there's the box on my bed, and I was just so excited. And I just I don't remember it being difficult to learn. It probably was, but because I was just so enthusiastic about it. When you kind of really enthused with a desire to do something, just all of the hard work doesn't seem like hard work. It seems enjoyable. And it wasn't long before I was playing in school bands and stuff, and taking part in school assemblies and carol concerts and that sort of stuff, and getting a bit of experience playing in front of people, which was, a good apprenticeship, I suppose. But the whole kind of thing of, playing guitar for a living as I was going through secondary school in my teenage years and everything, that was just, it was never on the radar, really. This is the early 1980s in the northeast of England when, kind of the shipyards are closing or everybody's on strike, and it was just, you get yourself a proper job, and that was the idea. And another interest I had as a kid was ham radio, just basically building a radio set or having a radio set and, kind of talking to the world on it. And I thought, well, obviously I'm never going to be a full-time musician. That's a pipe dream. That's never going to happen. But maybe I can make a living out of this other interest. So I ended up going to college, a place called Ray Castle in the English Lake District, to train to be a Merchant Navy radio officer. And I was there about 4 years. From I think 84 to 88. Wasn't a lot of band work going on there. It's a rural kind of area, but there were quite a few pubs that would have jam sessions, and I would turn up and play there. And there were one or two kind of gigs at the college that I played at, and sort of stuff. So I was honing my skills all the time. And then ended up leaving the Lake District in 88 and moving back over to the northeast of England, as I say, in 88, and pretty much straight away I was touting myself around the music venues just to try and get a gig with a band. And, didn't take long before I was playing in, what we call club bands in this part of the world. It's what you probably call a cabaret type band, where you're doing a little bit of music and a little bit of kind of comedy-ish kind of stuff. And you learn to play a lot of different styles in that. You can be playing, Right Said Fred and, novelty hits like that 1 minute, and a Bon Jovi song or a Def Leppard song the next minute. So you kind of learn to be versatile. And, I was working at the time, I had a proper job, working as a lab technician for an electronics company. And so I was kind of doing that by day, and, playing the clubs and the club circuit on a weekend. And then I would also be doing sort of midweek gigs in, blues bands that didn't pay particularly well, but, that was your passion project, that's what you were doing. And a couple of originals bands as well that, sort of came and went and came to nothing. But it was all good fun, I guess, in the end. And then in 1991, there was a bit of a downturn in the economy, and my job suddenly wasn't there anymore. I was laid off from my job, and I actually sort of sat down and did some number crunching and thought, well, I don't really want to be on the dole on welfare, because then it's somebody else, in charge of your income. They can send you for a lousy job, kind of miles away from home. And if you say, well, I can't do that, I'm not doing that, then they cut off your benefits. So I thought, I'm not going to go down that route. And I just put a little advert in the local press. I had a bit of, kind of redundancy money. A little advert in the local press, just advertising for doing guitar lessons. And pretty soon it started sort of gathering a bit of traction, and that plus the money I was making from gigging, I sat down, as I said, I crunched the numbers, and suddenly I realised, well, I'm paying the bills here. And at that moment, that's when, when you're filling in a form or something and it says occupation, and you can just write the word musician. Honestly, there's no better feeling than that. It really is, fantastic. Then the gigging thing started to just kind of fall by the wayside, really. I started noticing that the money just wasn't there. This was, the early to mid 90s. I still kept on gigging, but I was making more money from the tuition side of things. And that was what I had to concentrate on. It was a long and hard amount of thought went into this, but at the end of the day, when you're cancelling 50, 60 quid's worth of lessons to go out and do a gig where you might earn 30 quid, it's, there's only one conclusion you can come to, isn't there, when there's bills to be paid. And I was starting to notice as well that I was the only person in the band who was, relying upon music for me income. Everybody else, it was a hobby. And, it's like when you've got a hobby, you don't necessarily treat it in the same way as you treat something that is your livelihood. And, I was starting to notice that, well, we could be out gigging by now, because, when you're rehearsing with a band, we could be gigging by now, but we're not. We're still stuck in the practice room because, the bass player or the singer or whatever hasn't learned their parts again. And I just got a bit jaded with it, to be honest with you. I've sort of done gigs on and off since then, but it got to be sort of, the late 90s. I started realising that I really do need to concentrate on the tuition side of things, because that's what's paying the bills. And then in 1998, another thing that sort of factored large in my considerations was I met a young lady called Jackie, who, for, again, some inexplicable reason, ended up agreeing to become Mrs. Robson. And, it's like in the early stages of a relationship, you don't want to be, tootling off out and playing with the band on a Friday, Saturday night. You want to be spending it with the missus. And that was another thing. And I just sort of, the gigging sort of fizzled out, really, and the tuition took over. And then in 2000, I made the massive step of getting my first ever computer, and an internet connection, the old dial-up modem kind of thing. And I had this harebrained scheme that I would use one of these newfangled CD burners, CD writers, to put lesson content onto CDs and sell it on the internet on my website that I'd built. And of course that came to nothing, because it's, you don't just get into it that easy, or at least I didn't, but it did plant the seed of an idea. And then about 2006, 2007, I noticed there was this thing called YouTube, where you could put your own videos up. And I thought, yeah, there might be something in that. So I started putting up videos, and nothing came of it. Obviously, it became a way of letting off steam. It was like I was, wandering up to the top of the mountain and shouting into the wind, essentially, just kind of doing these videos, not unlike the one I'm doing now, where I'm just talking about stuff. And, after a week it had been up, it had over like 10 views or something. And, I had one revenue stream at the time, really. That was just people coming to the house for guitar lessons, and that was it. That was my sole source of income, and I was doing okay. I was paying the bills, Jackie was working as well, and between us we were doing okay. And then the financial crash hit in 2008, 2009, and suddenly, I go, well, my income is more than halved. And, it was lean times, I don't mind admitting. So what do? You start looking around for another band to go out and gig with, and there was a bit of a band project then, a couple of them actually, and, earned a little bit of money from that. I started, trying to think, well, maybe I should push this YouTube thing a bit more. And again, nothing was really coming of that. And then I had the bright idea of there's this thing called Skype. I wonder if I can kind of sell my lessons far and wide like that. And that gradually started taking off. People were contacting me saying, do you do guitar lessons? And, well, yes, obviously. And I had it on my website and everything, mentioning it in the YouTube videos that I was still putting up. At this point, this is like sort of, we're talking here about 2012, 2013. I had like 300 subscribers or something. And, and it was just a bit of a slog, really. And then for some inexplicable reason, in 2018, just one video that I did suddenly went whoosh and took off, and I crossed the threshold for monetization on YouTube. So that was another revenue stream that came in. And then people are saying to me, I'm getting in touch for Skype lessons, and there's people who are saying, I kind of like the idea of lessons, but would you film them for me? Would you kind of just shoot them and then I'll buy it off you as a lesson pack? So that's where the whole kind of thing of Udemy courses came from. And, then the Patreon thing, that was, a way of another revenue stream. I thought, well, how about I provide extra content that, kind of paid subscribers can get? And, many of you have taken that route, and thank you so much for doing that. And that's pretty much where we are now. Since 2018, really, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. The YouTube thing took off, that made the Skype thing, and Zoom lessons. I also do all the kind of video calling platforms, Zoom, Skype, Jitsi, whatever. They all kind of took off. People are buying me Udemy courses, people are watching the YouTube videos, people are, having lessons off me, and we're now at the point where basically it's, as I say to the missus, it's my round. Because during the time when my tuition business wasn't doing so well, she was basically keeping us, and now she's pretty much retired. She has a jewellery business that she does. She sells jewellery online. Fantastic stuff, by the way. Links in the description. Go and check it out. But, she's essentially a lady of leisure now, and I'm doing this kind of thing to keep a roof over our head, and it seems to be working, and that's no in no small part thanks to all of you wonderful people who have Skype or Zoom lessons off me, or watch these videos, or support me on Patreon, or buy my Udemy courses. It's a fantastic, fantastic way to earn a living. Do I miss gigging? To be honest, I'm glad I did it. I wouldn't have traded that part of my career for anything, you know. Lots of great times, lots of fun with lads, a van full of lads pootling up the motorway to go and, you know, to be rock stars for an evening. But, you know, I don't think I would kind of go back to that life now. You know, I'm 54 years old and I'm set in my ways, and I've carved out a little niche for myself that I quite enjoy. It's very comfortable, thank you very much, and it seems to suit me, and it seems to be something that keeps the lights on and keeps the bills paid. So I think I'll just stick with what I'm doing for the moment, thank you. Unless, of course, you know, Bon Jovi get on the phone and say, you know, come and fill in for us, then that might be worth considering. But no, in all seriousness, it would need to be a big, you know, kind of a big deal gig to get me back out on, you know, treading the boards again, because frankly, I've done it, I enjoyed it, I've ticked the box, and I don't feel the need to go and revisit that. It would be, you know, it's not where I'm at the moment. So there you go. That is essentially my story to date. I can't understand why anybody is, you know, remotely interested in the mundane details of some fat, bald lad from the northeast of England and how he lives his life. But there it is. You know, plenty of people seem to have been requesting this kind of video, so I thought I'd get it out the way. And now it's done. Let's move on, shall we? So there you go, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not give me a like while you're at it? Don't forget the live stream tomorrow, Friday, 5 PM UK time, where we're just going to go and have a beer and sit around and talk about more interesting stuff than me, hopefully. So that's pretty much it for today, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.